What's going on? We back again. This is like y'all don't know it because we haven't put it out, but this is like our third attempt to put out a video. Hopefully, the third time is the charm, and we actually can put out a video this time. But outside the square circle, Frank Nares. I'm Dennis Ragland. We're gonna get right into it. It's gonna be a little unorthodox. We're just gonna kind of just get right into it and just move all around. Now, we just want to give you something before the end of the year. For the end of 2016 and leading to the 2017 big year boxing, hopefully. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, so like Dennis said, that's our apologies. We seriously have been trying, and it's been technical difficulty after technical difficulty. It's been frustrating. So we're hoping this one's it. So the biggest word or biggest number I should say that Dennis just used is 2016, right? Okay, so I just want to say this. There was a particular fight that happened not this year, at the beginning or maybe middle of 2015, right? May 2nd to be exact. Okay, we boxing fans, man, we gotta drop this. Floyd and Pacquiao fought. It happened. Let's move the fuck on already. If I see another post anywhere on a boxing forum, on a page on Facebook, to our page, messaging, it don't matter. I don't want to hear about the damn fight no more, dude. It happened. It's over. Let's all move on. It's
talking about that,
dude. People, I'm in like 3 Facebook groups. Every single day, there's a post about Floyd Mayweather's a coward. Oh, Manny was on steroids. Oh, Floyd dominated. Oh, Manny really won the fight. Watch it in slow motion. I'm like, dude, how are you guys still on this? It's been, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been beaten to death, bro. Like, it's...
They do not know how to turn a page.
They don't. And my thing is, no matter what you felt, let's say you felt Floyd dominated, let's say you felt like the fight was a lot closer than other people did. That's fine, but move the hell on. You know what I mean? Like, there's been so many good fights since then. There was fights this year that were incredible that I haven't seen anyone posting about. But then, sure enough, we got 5 posts a day about Floyd and Manny. You know what I mean? And it's like it's that's been bothering me, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm bothered. I'm deeply bothered by it. We need to just move on. It's over. It's done. Hell, one of the fighters is retired. Floyd's retired, and we're still talking about that fight.
He's not even fighting with.
Hey, man, if we're gonna keep bringing up old stuff, I'm gonna start posting about Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad because he got robbed, and I'm sick of it. So if we're bringing up old shit, that's what I'm bringing up in 2017, okay? Because I'm sick of it. I can't do it no more, man. I just can't.
You know, what's the coincidence is I actually posted today. I posted 6 fights and said, which fight was the biggest robbery you ever seen? Did you see? I posted on our page.
I didn't know. I didn't see it.
It was Danny Garcia versus Mauricio Herrera.
Okay.
It was Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad.
Okay.
It was Sweet Pea versus Chavez. It was Manny Pacquiao versus Bradley One. It was Floyd Mayweather versus Castillo.
Okay.
And then the last one, let me see the last. Well, I'm trying to see the last one. I think it was SS 6. So I had so it was Danny Garcia. It was Floyd. It was Manny. It was Sweet Pea. It was Oscar. That's 5. I'm trying to think of the 6th one, but I asked about these fights.
That's tough to even choose from, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I asked like which one was the biggest robbery you ever seen, and I kid you not, people were like, "Well, what about Ward versus?"
Oh, come on, man!
I was like, "Come on, stop it!"
See, here's
what
the
about Ward versus Cole? That was a big robbery.
That wasn't a robbery, man.
There's a difference in a robbery and a close fight.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. And we spoke about this on a podcast that had a technical difficulty. There's a huge difference, just like Dennis said, between a robbery and a close fight. If the fight is close, most cards that had Kovalev winning were either by 1 point or 3 points, depending on if you had it 6-6 or 7-5. And like that's not a robbery, man. That's just a close fight that it just so happened that Ward got the majority of the close rounds in the second half. That's fine. That happened. It's the sport. I'm cool. A robbery, that is not a robbery, man. People need to drop that already.
The sixth fight was Canelo versus Laura.
To be honest, I think that one is I think that one was the least. If I had to rank them, that would be sixth, I think, because those other ones were bigger to me. I thought Canelo won the fight though, so I'm a little.
What I've seen is that people that have an awesome fan base, they really, when you mention them, it really invokes feeling. Like,
oh yeah,
people were going nuts over Canelo versus Laura. Like, are you kidding me? Laura didn't do anything with move around. Are you kidding me? Canelo's like, Canelo fans were going crazy.
Yeah.
So Manny Pacquiao fans came in that was like, I can't even believe that he fought him again. He beat him the first time. Like the bigger the name of the person, they fans that really support them. And you know, but you know, this is the thing. Somebody told me, I don't know boxing, for posting Floyd versus Castello a robbery.
Bro,
some Floyd fans said that. And I was like,
dude,
what? You don't really think that? Like, even if you didn't think he win, you didn't think that was close?
Here's the thing. Floyd and Manny fans online, or even in person, but I've met much more online, are the worst fans of all time. If you let... Move, Blueberry. My cat's trying to get in the picture. If you let anyone tell it, I mean, Floyd hasn't lost a round since he was 17, and Manny won every round as well. He was robbed against Bradley. He shouldn't have got knocked out. It was just a lucky punch against Marquez. It wasn't perfectly timed or anything. It wasn't practiced.
He closed his eyes and threw it.
Well, and that's what I mean. It's like, dude, those two fan bases are awful. They're terrible. It's excuse after this, after that, and it's like, dude, it's the same thing with Floyd and Maidana. You let them tell it now. When it first happened, I was all over blogs. I want to see what people were saying. And even Floyd fans are like, damn, Maidana came to fight. It could have been 7-5 his way. It could have been a draw. Dude, a lot of these same people now are like, oh, I rewatched it 100 times and Floyd won 8-4. Get the fuck out of here. Floyd did not win 8 rounds of that fight. You got to be... Now, don't get me wrong. I scored it...
Like, he gave away like the first 4. He was losing. Like,
yeah.
Maidana was willing on him.
Yeah, I had it... The very first time I watched it, I had it 6-6. And then I want to say I watched it a year or so later, and I had it 7-5 for Floyd. It was a close fight, but there 8 rounds. Yeah. I couldn't, even if I wanted to, I couldn't give Floyd 8 rounds in that fight. That fight was extremely close. But it's the same thing, bro. Speaking of fans, though, it's the same thing now with Ward and Kovalev. I'm seeing people say, I watched it for the 5th time in the last couple hours. This is the next day that it came. Ward won 9 rounds. 9 rounds? What the hell were you watching?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, like, this dude argued me this, and that answers the Cove went, like I said, Ward, he dominated the second half of the fight, but Kovalev won the first 6 rounds. I don't think Kovalev, I don't ever remember him being up 6-0. No. I had the first 6, I had it 4-2. I gave Ward the 3rd round in the 5th round, or the 6th, the 3rd and the 6th. On, like, the third one, and like, cause I don't ever remember Kovalev. They was like, they said, Ward is a good champion. He's a good fighter, but you can't beat the champion after you're down 6 rounds. And I'm like, what?
He wasn't down. Yeah,
down 6 rounds.
He was never at any point.
What was scoring?
Yeah. Hey, speaking.
Letterman.
Oh man, Harold. The thing is, Harold, he's usually good, but he extremely favors the aggressor. Like when you're aggressive, you're got the upper hand in every round.
If you're throwing bombs and being aggressive, he's gonna be like towards you.
Yeah, he was that fight. He was especially off though. I felt like, but I felt the same way when we spoke about this on the podcast that got lost. It's we gotta name those 3 podcasts, like the Lost Books.
Lost Files.
The law, yeah. But no, we spoke about that, and I was mad at Letterman, but then I also saw, when I rewatched it online, it was the UK broadcast with Paulie, and I thought his scorecard was just as bad, just the opposite way. He gave Ward like the 4 of the first 6 rounds, and I was like, dude, there's no fucking way. And the thing was, I respect Paulie. I think he's one of the better commentators that we have out now. But that scorecard was iffy. Both of them were. Letterman's for Cove and his for Ward were just outlandish to me.
I really feel like people see what they want to see when it's a big fight. It can go either way. It's 2 big name fighters. You know what I mean? It's not like one fighter who maybe can win and a guy in a guaranteed fighter. You know what I mean?
Right.
When it's two draws, it's always that controversy because feelings get evoked for the guy that you really root for. This is the guy you love. You want to see him win, so you find ways to look to give him rounds. Like, I found myself doing it. Like, a lot of times, I had to go back and rewatch fights to make myself unbiased because I can get caught up in emotion. But we all do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a more fan, so you can kind of get caught up in emotion. Like, oh, well, even though he got hit with these 3 good punches, Lord, you know, said slip these 4. No, you gotta give them points for that. So I had to check myself and do that. But I think, and you know what doesn't help? Announcers like Jim Lampley. I like Jim Lampley. I even watch his show. But guys like when he's making boom, big shots there, and then you go back and he's missed it, and it's like that's persuading the crowd or anybody to believe that a person could be getting beat when he's missing them.
No, for sure. And you know, it's funny that you said that because the last time that I let my emotions do that, I remember the fight. It was Austin Trout versus Miguel Cotto, and when I was younger, I saw Miguel Cotto when he was first coming up, and I liked this guy a lot, so I followed him. And, you know, he's fighting Austin Trout, and I had Cotto winning that fight like 9-3. It was my scorecard was awful. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt on everything. And with me, I like, before me and you linked up, I never shared my scorecard until the fight was over. So I'm talking to one of my buddies who's a huge boxing fan. He messaged me. He goes, bro, how'd you score it? I was like, oh, you know, 9-3 for Cotto. He was like, what fight were you watching? I'm like, what are you talking? And then they announced the scorecards, and Trout mopped the floor with them, and I was like, damn, what fight was I watching? So I rewatched it again like a week or two later, and I just like, dude, I caught myself. I was like, I don't even remember Trout landing this punch. I don't remember Trout even throwing this punch. I didn't even look at Trout. I was looking at Cotto the whole fight. I didn't even care about you. You know what I mean? And you're right. Like, we do get caught up in that. It's hard to disconnect. But, you know, the thing is, I think as I've gotten older, though, I'm less and less a fan of a boxer, and I'm more and more a fan of the sport. So I'll like the way... I
say that, too.
Right. I like the way some people fight, or a lot of people fight, really. Like, I'm a fan of all styles. I'm cool with a defensive style. I'm cool with this. I'm cool with that. As long as it's at a high level, I can appreciate it to some degree. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to even say... I have a few fighters who I might deem my favorite fighter, but... I don't dislike very many fighters in the sport, man. I like a lot of fighters, so it's easier.
Yeah,
you know, it's easier for me to score.
Particularly for me not to like them.
Yeah, you have to. It's usually like out of the ring stuff that makes me not like, or just like I feel like they're being lazy. That was my thing always with Peter Quillen. Like, I felt like he was way too talented to be sitting back and not wanting to challenge himself so much. That was always my gripe with him. But he seems like a humble guy. Like, I've seen him in interviews, and he's nice. He's a real cool dude. But, yeah, there's only been a handful of fighters since I was really started watching the sport that I disliked a lot.
Like fighters that I wind up disliking are fighters that I actually used to like, and then I feel like they let me down.
Yeah,
like Victor Ortiz. You know what I mean? Like, Victor. Like, I was talking to one of my guys the other day, and he was like, man, Victor... I watched that Floyd fight, and Victor was doing so well.
He was doing well.
I don't even know if Victor knows the potential that he had. I don't know if he knows it. Or maybe he does know it, and he lives off of that because he knows that he has the skills to do this and that, and he just lives off of, well, I could do this and that if I try, and then just don't try. It bugs me that you can have such gifted athletic skills. You know, you can have the ability to win if you really try and apply yourself, and you just quit all the time.
Yeah.
It bugs me.
You know, that does to me as well, and I mean, me and you have had this discussion. I gave up on Vic earlier than you did because I just couldn't deal. I was a huge fan of Ortiz. I liked him, and then when the Maidana thing happened, I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
But, you know, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He's young. It was an emotional, you know, whatever. But then he has that little comeback trail. He beats Berto, and I'm like, damn, this kid's back at it. And speaking of, I did want to say, too, that fight is one of those fights, too, that Floyd fans had me laughing, like, yo, that was easy work. He was up 4-0, and I was like, I had it. Wait, that was the 5th round that he knocked him out, right? Or the 4th?
I thought it was the 5th.
The 5th, okay, I thought so, too. I remember having it 2-2 going into that 5th, and that 5th round in particular, I remember
He was backing Floyd up.
Yeah, dude, he was backing Floyd up really well with that jab, and Floyd was countering well. Let's not get it twisted. He landed some really good shots.
He wasn't like beating Floyd up, but he was backing him up.
Yeah,
Floyd
but and the thing was though, that's what pissed me off about that fight. Me and you spoke about this, just not on the podcast. Is that in that 5th round, Vic landed some really good shots, and you started to see the dog come out of Floyd because he started really sitting down on his punches. That overhand right he landed with maybe a minute or two to go in the round. I was like, oh shit, we're seeing the Floyd that, you know what I mean, that we haven't seen in a little bit. That fight was just starting to really heat up in that round, and it pissed me off. And Vic, I don't like that people got mad at Floyd for that. He just got headbutted, and he had a big ass gash on his chin. I would have done the same thing. Like what you know what I'm saying? Like people want to blame Floyd for that. Victor Ortiz probably should have got disqualified for that. That was
it was intentional.
It was completely intentional.
People feel like, you know what, he owed it to let the fight continue, but then again, he don't owe us anything. He just owed us himself to win.
Well,
and he won. Now I wish he would have.
Yeah.
If that fight would have continued, I want to say Floyd wins. Okay, I had to say the smartest to say Floyd wins.
Yeah.
But it's definitely that wound up being a really good fight.
Yeah, I think so too. That being said though, and I think me and you spoke up about this as well, Victor Ortiz is more so at fault than anybody. How many times do you have to apologize, bro? Like, he was acting so emotional. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. He even gave him a kiss on the cheek. Like, dude, we get it. You fucked up fight. What are you doing? Like, you don't have to continue to say sorry. Especially, you just brought the dog out in Floyd. Had that been the first round, maybe...
We can do that after the fight. After the fight out, we can do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Right now, I don't like you.
No, absolutely not. It's yeah, I don't know. That whole thing pissed me off. And I never blamed Floyd. Like you said, I would have liked for him to kind of put his ego to the side, but at the same time, I can't blame him. He just got headbutted. Like, what are you supposed to do in that scenario? You know what I mean? That whole thing was nuts. Hey, what are we because we spoke about this, but I want the fans to get a little insight as to what we spoke about. How are we feeling about Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia? Because last year, when it was the possibility, I thought Keith was gonna mop him.
Right, and I spoke about this yesterday. I just was like, you know what? I was just all pro Keith. Yeah. But I don't know what had happened. But slowly but surely, Danny does what Danny does. The fight hasn't even happened yet.
No.
And Danny has slowly told in my mind, like, you know what? Danny's a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude knows how to win.
Yeah.
I can't just say he's gonna get mopped out. No matter what, Danny finds a way to win. He finds a way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's bloody, if he's getting hit, if he's got his one eye getting clipped. Danny finds a way to win. So it's like he slowly did what he does. And it's like, damn it, how did he do that?
Yeah,
how did he believe that he can actually win this fight? I
was going to say, it was funny that you said that because I was literally thinking about that the day before. You sent me that yesterday, and the day before I was thinking like, man, you know, Danny might, because I was thinking about the fights I was looking forward to, and I'm like, Danny might pull this shit off. I'm like, no, but I do like Keith a lot. I think Keith's the top 2 in welterweight, but Danny just knows what he's doing. And I think what swayed me was, even though Samuel Vargas might not be the most elite guy, but he could fight. We've seen a few of his fights on PBC to this point. He's a good fighter. And this was the first time that Danny looked like a full-fledged welterweight. He looked like he was carrying his weight right. His punches had a lot of snap on them. He looked sharp. He looked fast. He looked powerful. You know, against Paulie, he didn't look that way. And then against, who was his second fight against? I'm blanking.
Robert Garcia, wasn't it? When he won WBC.
Robert Guerrero, that's right. Yeah, yes. And he didn't look like Guerrero came on in the second half of that fight. So that threw doubt in me. And then when I see him looking this way, and no disrespect to Guerrero or Paulie, but I think Samuel Vargas at this point is a better fighter than both of them. And he looked much better in that fight than he did with those two. So, I mean, that fight, man, I'm looking forward to that one. I really am.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, I've run my mind through this. It's like, I can see Thurman hurting Danny, and Danny just recovering because Danny's a winner. He's not going to lay down. Just like Amir Khan was hurt, like I said, he was beating the brakes off of Danny, and then Danny landed something and got the night over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see Thurman hurting Danny, and Danny weathering the storm,
right,
fighting back, boxing, throwing that hook, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
think
can see him hitting Keith for something good, and then it even things up, and then you know what? Then he just survive.
Yeah.
And then when you next thing you know, it's a split decision, Danny Garcia.
Bro, and here
just see somehow we're like, damn it, he did it.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, and not to get too deep into it, because we're gonna have once the fight is on the horizon, we'll have a complete episode for it. But I was thinking about this as well. And I'm gonna tell you my train of thought, and then you could tell me who has a better chance of hurting each other, right? Thurman has good power, and I think Danny has. I don't think neither of them have like bone crushing elite power. They both have good power. But I'm trying to think, when is the last time I saw Danny Garcia hurt? Have I really seen Danny Garcia? I've seen him tired. Against Lamont Peterson, he looked tired. But when was the last once or even a couple shots that he looked buzzed?
Like days, like he was almost gonna go
down. He took Lucas Matisse's best shots and giggled and came forward.
I don't know. That's a real good question.
And that's what I mean. So my mind.
I think I say Zab.
Oh yeah, Zab buzzed him. Zab buzzed him. You're right.
I think Zab hurt him.
Zab buzzed him. You're right. That's a good one. But the point I'm making is I've seen Keith hurt a couple times, and not like necessarily badly hurt. He was getting, with the body shot.
The bodies.
We saw Sean Porter locked his knees a few times.
Danny Garcia body shots. Do you think is Danny Garcia a good body puncher to you?
He is. I don't think he throws them enough though. I don't know if that's gonna sway the fight, but this is what I was asking, or this is my train of thought, I guess. So with that being said, we've seen Keith hurt a few more times than we have Danny, right? Now, the one thing that I'll say that Danny has over Keith is his timing. I think he times fighters better than Keith does, and Keith likes. He's a good counterpuncher, and Keith likes to jump in. So will we see Danny land one of those straight rights or his left hook and hurt Keith? That's my biggest question.
It's possible.
It is.
I can see that. I can see like, nah, it's darn well possible.
It is.
Keith, he's doing this little, he's doing it like Keith, that's what I said, Keith can box well. So if Keith, do his little in and out, he does,
yeah.
He come in, does one of them, and he gets caught. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I darn sure know he can knock him down and hurt him, and he can finish it from there.
Yeah. That's an intriguing fight, man.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's a good fight.
I don't know either. I felt like as close as I thought the Sean Porter versus Thurman would be before it happened, I still always favored Keith. I always thought he would pull through. And he did. It was a close fight, and he pulled through.
Only reason, if I favor Keith, only reason is for one reason only. Footwork. Danny Garcia is flat-footed.
He is.
We see if you can move.
Yeah.
Don't stand in front of him.
Yeah.
Just move the whole fight and box him, you can win.
But seeing the
Thurman can just box him the whole fight. Don't get stupid.
That's not in Keith's DNA though. We know that, man. That's what I'm saying. You see, because I agree.
He has to know that. Like,
yeah.
This is the only way I'm gonna really beat this guy. And if he does that, he can beat Danny. If he just I'm standing up, I'm gonna box him. I don't want to play the one. What's his name?
One time.
This one time. KOs for life. If he don't stick to that and he just
he's not, man.
I'm gonna win this.
Hey,
I'm gonna win this fight. He'll win.
He could have did that against Sean Porter and probably pulled off a wider decision, but that's not him, man. That's just not him. He's going in there to fight. He's going in there to knock out Danny. I agree. I agree with you.
With the intention to do it.
Yeah, he has the better footwork, but I think what he'll do is limit himself on the amount of bombs that he does throw, but every single round he's gonna have at least 5 just haymakers, just where he's tossing that right hand.
He's gonna try to get him out of there.
Yeah, he is.
Make a statement to get him out of there.
That's gonna be that's gonna be a great fight. But what I do want to talk about is who do you think? And we'll take a break real fast to make sure this recording is good for you guys. Who do you think is the most intriguing fighter going into 2017?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Most intriguing fighter for 2017 going into that year, it's actually a tie. Really, it's a tie. It's not one. It's Spence and Lomachenko.
Okay.
And the reason why is because both of these guys have the ability to dominate not just the division they in, but multiple divisions.
Yeah.
Lomachenko we were looking forward to seeing him fight some guys at 130, then move up and fight amazing fight like Mikey Garcia at 135.
Yeah.
And fights at 135. Look, right now, people even talking about who would win versus Lomachenko versus Crawford. Crawford even came out and said he'll fight him at 138.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? He can fight multiple freaking weights because he's so good.
Yeah.
Then you look at a guy like Spence. Spence isn't even a welterweight. I don't care what nobody says. That dude is
he's huge.
He's a junior middleweight every day, all day.
he's ginormous.
Seeing him get his first title next year, because he's going to get that IBS, if he doesn't fight Kell Brook. If he fights Kell Brook, he has a chance to get it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am not just going to say he's going to whip Kell Brook.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Kell Brook ain't no walk in the park. So, if he just doesn't, if Kell vacates and decides he's not going to fight that fight, then he's going to get that belt. And then we're going to see him fight the winner of Danny Garcia versus Thurman. And then we're going to see him go to division junior middleweight and fight those guys like Demetrius Andrade and Laura and go to all those guys.
Yeah.
Amazing fights up there. He even talked about how he would fight Triple G at 160.
He's got the frame for it. He's going to grow into 160
yes,
one day.
He is. So that's why 2017, those are the two most intriguing fighters just because of potential. Who you think?
See, those were good. I didn't even think of those when I posed the question. But you did say the name of the fighter that I think is going to be the most intriguing is...
Crawford?
No, is Kell Brook. Because he's in such a unique situation where he had the frame to go to 160, but because he made that jump, I don't think his body was necessarily ready. So he looked huge at 160. He's a big guy. But, I mean, moving up 2 weight classes and fighting arguably a top 5 pound-for-pound guy, that's tough to do. And he had success, right? He looked good for... I mean, even though I had him down on the cards when he did get knocked out, I mean, just for any welterweight to do that to Triple G is incredible. I don't think any other welterweight could do that to Triple G.
I haven't seen no other welterweight. I haven't seen I haven't seen no other person, no middleweight,
right?
Hit by Triple G bombs and saying, "Come on."
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. He's the first fighter that I could think of, maybe since Gabe Rosado, that came to fight against Triple G. He didn't get beat before the fight started. So to me, he's very intriguing for one of the reasons you said is that he's no walk in the park. If he can make 147 and be healthy and be at strong, I don't see on paper anyone beating him at 147. That's just me, and that's just on paper, right? I'm not saying he can be beat.
I'm not people. I love Spence.
I absolutely love Errol Spence. I think he's one of the futures of the sport. But Kell Brook has shown me more to this point than Errol Spence has shown me in terms of their resumes. So I know what I absolutely have in Kell Brook. Well, I have a clearer picture, I'll say, of Kell Brook than I do of Errol Spence. And I think talent-wise, he's better than Thurman. We saw him beat Sean Porter, with relative ease, especially in that second half of the fight. Once he adjusted, it seemed like Porter just lost his way.
Porter said himself, like, he controlled me.
Yeah, in our interview with him.
Like,
yeah, he told us, like,
you know what I mean?
I couldn't do anything. It came to a point where I just kind of dropped my game plan and he got in my head. And, he's most intriguing because the part that makes it intriguing is, what if he can't make 147? Where does he go? Does he go to 54? And then where does he stack up at 54? Do we think he can beat a Charlo brother? Do we think he can beat Boo Boo? Do we think he can beat Andre? Or even someone like K9? You know what I mean? So, like, where does he stack up at 154? And let's say he doesn't want to go to 154. Let's say he wants to stay at 160. Can he beat Canelo when Canelo moves up? Can he beat, Billy Joe Saunders? Can he beat those guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many.
Over there in the UK, Billy Joe versus Kell. That'd be a big fight.
Yeah,
in the UK.
but the fight, and this is the thing that finally topped it off with me, that made me choose, is that Amir Khan says he's ready. Amir Khan says he wants that fight. So regardless of the weight, I don't think the weight's gonna make a difference because Kell's just a bigger guy than Amir anyway. So whether the fight's at a catchweight 150, 151, or even if it's at welterweight, Kel's going to outweigh him by 10 to 15 pounds in the ring. So I don't think that has an effect. That's going to show me how well he stacks up against welterweight speed. Because we haven't really seen him against speedy guys just yet. And we know Amir Khan might be the fastest guy with his hands in the sport. I've always, not always, I lied, that's a lie. I favored Amir Khan years ago because I knew what I had in Amir Khan. But to this point, I'm not gonna lie to you, I heavily favor Kell Brook over Amir Khan.
I just had the same concerns with Amir Khan in every fight, man.
Same.
I fear his chin.
Same.
You know, because Amir Khan to this day has never been outboxed. He didn't get outboxed by Danny Garcia. You know what I mean? He didn't get outboxed by Canelo. He just got caught. His chin is made of China toilet tissue.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is. If Amir Khan had the chin of, say, Floyd Mayweather, do you know how dangerous Amir Khan would be?
Yeah, that's...
Like, if Amir Khan was just deadly hard to knock out or hurt, you know how deadly he would be.
Yeah, or even... I mean, you don't even have to go that far. If he were just to admit that he has a weak chin, because it seems every fight is like, no, my chin's fine. It's good. You know what I mean? And he wants to
make excuses like, oh, I was drained by the weight.
Yeah, and
just don't have a good chin.
But and there's nothing wrong with that. We saw Vladimir Klitschko say, yeah, I don't have a chin. I had to adjust my style to win fights. Now, if Amir Khan doesn't get crazy and start throwing 19 punch combinations and get caught in between, because he knows his limitations, that's still a bad dude. But he seems to get that confidence and his adrenaline's rushing and he takes too many chances.
And he's like, no. And it's looking good. It's like, wow. And it's like, you know what? He gets greedy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna land more, and then you get caught. So you know.
I'll go as far to say this. I think Kell Brook could outbox Amir Khan. Because I think
why is that?
The reason I think so is because Kell Brook is a counter puncher, and we've seen him lead an attack. We've seen, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen him lead, and we've also seen him on his back foot. Kell Brook might not be as fleet of foot as Amir Khan, but Amir Khan only knows how to circle one way. He only circles to his right. We've seen it in every fight. We saw it in the Maidana fight. We saw it in the Canelo fight. And that's what sets up punches. And I think Kell Brook is on the same level, if not better, at setting up his punches than Canelo is. So I think the only thing we haven't necessarily seen is Kell Brook cut off a ring. So if Kell Brook is even halfway decent at cutting off a ring, I think he has a really big chance of outboxing Amir Khan. He didn't have to knock him out. Because he's a good body puncher. We saw it against Triple G. He set up that uppercut. He set up some of those straight right hands beautifully. You know what I mean? So I think he has a good chance of even just outboxing Amir Khan.
I don't know about that, but I you know what I'm saying? Like, I hear your point. I'm not
right.
Good point, but I don't know if he's gonna do that. Well, you know what? I say something that I want to go into. I saying that Chavez Jr. has a week to accept $6 million offer from Canelo.
Yeah.
Now, I heard Chavez Sr. say they offered my son crumbs. Now, look, they started off by offering Triple G $10 million. So if they offering Chavez $4 million less than Triple G, who hasn't done half of what Triple G has done lately, I think that's a good offer. If he gets $6 million, if he say $6 million and a back of the pay-per-view, he's doing okay. Look, who can Chavez Jr. fight and make $5 million with? Not even say $6.
Probably nobody at this point.
I'm just like right now. Who's gonna fight Chavez Jr.?
Exactly.
He campaigns at 168, right? Look at the champions, Badu Jack. If he tries to win a Badu Jack versus DeGale, he's not gonna make that money. Even if it's in the UK, say DeGale wins, he's gonna make that money. He'll be lucky to get 3, right? Gilberto Ramirez.
No. I
don't even know who the WBA champ is. I think it's like cutting off somebody, whoever it is. I think it's him or Storm.
He's
the WBA.
God damn it! I know who it is, and I'm blanking on it. my mind's been in football mode since the end of the season. So the smaller things are eluding me at this point. But no, yeah. No one at 68, he's making probably over a million and a half.
So I'm saying he can't make 60 no more,
Mm-mm.
right? Because that's why he's fighting at 165.
Right.
Nobody at 168 you're gonna make that money with. We see what happened when you went to 75. Was we 73? It's not even 70.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like
So they
72.
wanna
I
fight more.
think. Yeah.
Right, against a guy who got knocked out by Joe Smith.
Yeah.
So let's say you decide. Let's say Adonis Stevenson said, "I have nobody to fight. Let's fight." You ain't getting $5 million for that.
No.
Not even 5.
No.
So at my point right now, Chavez Jr. Because I get this negotiation. So if I was Chavez, if he isn't getting the back end on the pay per view, then I'll ask for the back end. If he is getting the back end on the pay per view for $6 million, he needs to shut up right now. Sign it before tonight ends. I don't care if he has 1 week to sign it. Forget 1 week. Tonight.
I think
before tonight is over.
Yeah.
He needs to sign that.
I think. See, I agree with you with a lot. The one thing I will say, it's clear he's not getting this type of money against anybody else. But with that being said, I feel like that's such an unfair way to negotiate. Because that was the same thing, but Mayweather and Pacquiao when they were, you know what I mean? Like, well, you're not going to make that money against a lot of people either. Like, that fight's going to sell a lot in Mexico. And it's because it's too, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people in Mexico do not like Canelo. It's the Mexican Americans that love him. So, and I don't know at this point, I don't know what they feel about Chavez, but early in his career, they loved him just because of his last name.
I say he should ask for a back end of pay-per-view.
Right, and
like
see,
if he gets $6 million and a back end of pay-per-view, because that's gonna be the bulk of the money, then he should shut up and take that.
And that's what I'm saying. See, I don't know what that offer is because Chavez Sr. came out and he seemed to sound very reasonable. He said, "Look, we know this is Canelo's time." This was the article I was reading. He said, "We know he's the lead guy in Mexico. Give us 30%." I wouldn't be mad at 70-30. I think that's fine.
Right.
I don't see, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what it is about negotiations at this point with Oscar De La Hoya if he's just trying to milk every single nickel and dime, but this is a very winnable fight for Canelo. You know what I mean? So not only does this get him acclimated at a higher weight than 160, but you're fighting a dude with no defense at all. That you're going to be able to, that his style is perfect for Canelo. Yeah, his style is perfect for Canelo. So give him his 25-30%. Let's get this fight on and let's get Golovkin in September. What is the issue here? I feel like, I don't know what it is about Oscar, but ever since Richard Schaefer left Golden Boy, it just, fights are coming harder and harder, are becoming harder and harder to come by.
And you know what? That brings me to the point of Schaefer, when people were saying that Schaefer was the face, and I was like, no, Schaefer worked for Oscar. You know, I was naive in it. Like, Schaefer worked for Oscar. Oscar's the brains. I'm sure he just tells Schaefer what to do.
Right.
But Schaefer made some great fights.
Yeah.
It's clear that Schaefer really was the brain behind it. It's clear that Oscar it's his name. He made this Golden Boy. You know what I'm saying? So this is his thing, but I'll make this thing run. It was clear that he made this thing run because, like Schaefer was saying, he would have got Triple G versus Canelo done a while ago. He would have made it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, like, you do what's fair, but you make sure your guy has the advantage. You can't
absolutely.
just have the advantage and be greedy.
And see, and that's what I've been saying. When me and you have this discussion, because you have seen both sides. You say, yeah, like 15 mil is a lot for Golovkin, and I get it. It is a lot because he's not going to make that anywhere else. So we could throw that out the window. But if you're going to be greedy with the money, then you can't have everything you want in the fight. You can't have the gloves. You can't do the ring size, the this, the that. There has to be give and take. Like, I get you're the A side, but even with like the example that me and you always talk about is with Oscar and Mayweather. Like, Mayweather conceded a lot, but the money was still right for Floyd in that fight. He didn't get paid peanuts. He got paid a lot to concede a lot. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's 50-50, let's say, even though it shouldn't be, but just for the sake of an example, if Canelo said, okay, let's go 50-50, but we have to wear these ounce gloves, you can't wear this brand, the ring side. Now you have to concede. The A side just gave you 50-50 to get the rest of it. But if you're talking about 15 mil, no pay-per-view, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta use sparring gloves and I gotta wear UFC gloves, and You can't have all that. So I don't know what exactly is
Right.
happening with negotiations, but it seems like they want everything. And I get it. The A side gets a lot, but the A side never gets everything. I mean, even like I told you off air, Victor Ortiz got like 5% off Floyd. If Vic and
He
Guerrero
didn't
can
have to
give
fight Victor at all.
yeah, he didn't have to give Victor. Victor got I think $2 million up front, and then another like 3 or 4 in pay per view. That's a good payday. That's a nice little payday. You know what I'm saying? Like Golovkin and Canelo is going to sell. That's at least $1 million. That's at least $1 million pay per view buys. So you got to give him something. You can't do 15 mil flat and then not give him the because he's part of the because. Well, this is what I've been telling people, like, well, he's not that popular. His pay-per-view numbers haven't been great. You're right. But the mainstream media, ESPN in particular, has been painting him as the boogeyman forever. Now, these same mainstream people who watch ESPN know Canelo. They know he's the guy that lost to Floyd and he's looked great ever since. They're the ones that buy his fights as well. You know what I mean? Like, this fight has some mainstream viewership to it. It's not going to, hit 2 or 3 mil, but I say it tops out at like 1.5, and that's a very good, especially for today's streaming day and age, you know what I mean? Those are great numbers. But that whole negotiation, I'm over it, man. I don't even like to think about it because to me, one of these sides doesn't want the fight. I don't know who it is. On the outside looking in, it seems like Oscar and them don't want it.
Yeah, I don't think, because I wouldn't say Chavez has nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like, really, what if Chavez loses? So he lost fights anyway, and he's lost to less talented guys, less famous guys. Doesn't matter if Chavez loses.
No, this is going to be a huge payday for him. If he loses this fight, it doesn't. He could retire off this fight. Hell, he don't have to do much more after that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This negotiation tactic. I'm just not following. I do hope the Golovkin and Canelo fight happens next year though, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna be very, very angry about that.
Right.
I've supported Canelo and bought his pay-per-views, but if come September or the end of next year, I'm not buying another pay-per-view from Canelo. It's not happening. Because that's ridiculous. Because I feel like part of me feels like they're waiting for Golovkin to get old. And he's not a spring chicken. He's 34, 35. Like and that's why he's looking for the bigger paydays. He's getting older, and the thing is, Canelo has a great chance in that fight. That's a very close fight. I think I would slightly favor Golovkin at this point, but there's plenty of scenarios in which I see Canelo winning that fight. So the fact, to me, if that's me, and maybe this is my ego talking, I don't know what Canelo has done. We've seen him do it with Lara. But I'd go to Oscar like, you don't think I could beat this dude? Like, why isn't this fight, what are we doing here? Because I got all these people calling me pussy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think I can win? Because I want to go in there and beat his ass now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's
Oscar's
happening.
a smooth talker.
Right.
And Oscar's like, no, Canelo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
no, Canelo, you remember when you fought Floyd and he had all the advantage? You probably could have beat him, but he made you drain your weight. I'm quite sure he's doing that, you know? He's just becoming a smooth talker.
He might be. I don't know. That's the one thing. That's the least thing I'm looking forward to next year. Speaking of most things that are like the fighters I'm most looking, just a dynamic in general, I'm not looking forward to that. Because part of me just feels like it's not going to happen. And I'm going to be very angry.
Yeah. It's one of them things where I try not to talk about it as much until it happens. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was exciting. Like, you know what I mean? For the first so on, but then after a while, it's like, look, either they're going to do it or they're not.
Right.
I'm not going to waste time talking about it every time I can.
Right, exactly. It's that's become so exhausted at this point. And that's speaking of it, exhausted, we could even talk about this, because it falls along the same tracks. I was exhausted by Golovkin and Jacobs. It came to the point where it was like, dude, you two, I don't even want to see you fight anymore. Once it got made, I was excited again.
It seemed like Jacobs had a lot. His team had a lot of hesitation, saying they want a tune up first, and you know. But after a while, I feel like I credit the WBA because they were just like, look, whoever don't take this fight, they getting stripped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna lose your credibility, and you're gonna lose your time to try to fight. I mean, you're not gonna come back and say, okay, I want to fight now.
Right.
So I credit, and you know what? More sanctioned bodies need to do that.
They do.
You're fighting on taking this belt. You know what I mean? If you want to, anybody not named Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, them like the three people, they don't need belts. They name outgrown a belt.
Yeah.
Like Manny Pacquiao can fight anybody. Like he's thinking of talking about him might fight Jeff Horn.
I was just gonna say.
But people watch it. You know what I mean? People watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like certain fighters can get away with that because they man has outgrown a belt, sanctioned bodies, and all that. They can say, "Here, take it." But other fighters, you need that. You really need that belt. That belt is a part of who you are. It makes you a champion. It puts you up there to fight these fighters.
Right.
So the sanctioned bodies need to apply that pressure down on most of these guys, all of these guys, except for guys like that, to say, "Hey, fight or give me back the belt, and then go do your business your way."
Right. Exactly.
That's how it needs to be.
And man, you said something that clicked in my mind. What you said was, because I know, and I agree everything you said. We've talked about this. I agree with you 100%. More sanctioned bodies need to be strict. Enough with the third and fourth interim belts, the diamond belt, the this and that. Man, make these dudes fight already. That's enough.
WBC silver, but it's blue.
It's ridiculous. But what you said was, people have outgrown belts and people will watch. And the fighter that you reminded me of that it slipped your mind to say was Miguel Cotto. He's kind of beyond that point as well. But it made me think, I am really pissed that fight with Kirkland is a pay-per-view. I'm not buying that fight.
I'm not.
I'm going to tell, hey, boxing fans, here's the thing. I might even sound like a hypocrite, because I always say, we got to support the sport. We have to, but this was when I was younger, when we were younger, do you remember the fights? I remember there was a few Bernard Hopkins fights that were $20 pay-per-views. There was a fight a few years ago. Was it a Marquez fight? That was like $40. HD pay. I would pay that. Bro, I'm not spending $75 for an HBO pay-per-view for Canelo. For Cotto and Kirkland. And these are two exciting fighters. I enjoy watching both of them. But they haven't fought in 4 years. Not literally. I'm over exaggerating for the fans, but
some people are gonna take
some people they fought. I know when they fought. I know, but I'm saying I want to see the fight, but not for $75. This is becoming ridiculous. It's come to a point where if me and Dennis have a good press conference and he throws a chair at me, we can sell that shit for $75. I mean, what's going on here? There's
what I'm saying, this fight, no one asked for this fight. You know what I'm saying?
There was no demand.
Pay-per-view for, when there's no title involved.
Right.
When let's say when Canelo fought what's the Mexican dude name? His name?
You're talking about the dude who.
Angulo.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Josecito Lopez, the dude who. Okay, I get where you're going. Go ahead. Yeah, when he fought Angulo.
When Canelo fought Angulo, right? You paid pay-per-view for that. You know why? Because it was a demand. We actually wanted that. That's when Angulo, you know what I'm saying, was.
Yeah.
He was looking like a dog.
And we wanted to see what he looked like after he lost to Floyd. We were like, what is he? Yeah, absolutely.
Right. We wanted that fight. It was no title on the line. Just two names. They can go in there at 154. They can go in there and fight.
Yeah.
Nobody said, hey, you know what would be a good idea? Kirkland versus Cotto. Nobody said that.
Hey.
Giving us this fight.
Hey, no.
So you know what? If you're gonna give it to us, then give it to us for free.
Right. No, here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. There's a storyline here. I like the fight. Ann Wolfe is back with Kirkland for the 15th time, so that's cool. We don't know what Cotto or Kirkland had. It's a crossroads fight. It's a fight that the loser probably has to retire. But just like you said, give that to us for free. That's not a pay-per-view fight. There's no demand for this fight. It's going to be an entertaining fight. Let's not get it twisted. It's going to be a good fight.
Nobody said it's going to be boring.
Right. But, I mean, when you know what I'm saying?
If it's going to happen, you give it to us because we didn't ask for that.
No.
You know
it's not,
we asked for Cotto versus, you know what I'm saying, anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? We asked for Cotto versus Charlo brother. You know what I mean?
Hell, we've been asking for Danny versus Thurman for a couple years now, and that's not pay-per-view, is it? That's on national television.
Right.
Come on, where are we drawing the line here? And I think, but speaking of Cotto specifically, I think it's Rock Nation, bro. I think they messed up that contract with him. Because they have to pay him so much for each fight that they kind of have to make it pay-per-view.
Right. But you gotta kind of eat that. You gotta eat that.
At this point, you do.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
But right.
When you sell 80,000.
But not only are you hurting yourself, though, you're hurting the sport of boxing. Because now you're going to get dudes who, just like you said, Pacquiao's going to fight Jeff Horn. And they're going to make that a pay-per-view. That's not a pay-per-view fight. That's not even... Dude, I thought Jeff Horn was a basketball player. I don't know Jeff Horn. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
had to look him up. I'm
yeah.
a hardcore boxing fan. I had to look him up. Like,
right.
And I had to look who does he beat? Like,
what? Yeah, the sport... I am looking forward to 2017, though. I think there's some big fights that can and will get made. We're going to learn a lot, man. We're going to see... You know who else I'm thinking of now, though? I'm backtracking a little. I'm intrigued by Adrian Broner. Because he went through his kind of mental thing where he seemed depressed on social media and whatnot. But the dude he's fighting, Granados, he's a good fighter. We've seen him. I think
he's no chump.
Yeah, we've seen him. I saw 2 of his fights this last year. I don't know if he only fought twice though, and he could fight. What is he's number 7 at 140?
I think you're biased because he's from Chicago.
Is he from Chicago?
I think he's from Chicago.
I didn't even know that. No, I've seen him fight a few times, and he could fight. Now, obviously, Broner's more talented. Broner should be the heavy favorite there. But what I'm saying is that fight, we're going to see where he's at mentally. Because this is easily a fight that if he's not there, if he's not prepared, he can get beat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
He's not coming to box.
Yeah,
he's not coming to box. I seen his style. He's coming to win.
He's
coming to try to beat Broner up.
The fight that I want to see get made is Adrian Broner, given he wins that fight, versus Terrence Crawford. Because, and a lot of people are going to, Terrence is going to whoop his ass, and he's going to, dude.
A-game Broner ain't no walk in the park for nobody.
Well, that's what I mean. So, I firmly believe Broner, when he said, you know what, I'm done. And maybe I shouldn't. I don't think he's done anything to give me the benefit of the doubt, but I have given. I don't know what it is about him. I've given him the benefit of the doubt. But he said after that Porter loss, he said, I'm not taking shortcuts no more. I'm too good for this. And he is. He's too... that being said, I do think Porter's style will always favor Porter in that fight. Just because Broner's not active enough. Broner
could have won that fight, honestly.
He could have, but he didn't throw his hands enough.
He could have won it. Exactly, he just did.
Right, here's the thing.
He let him wrestle him the whole time when he could have just broke it up in box.
Right, so with that being said, I do think he's going to stop taking things for granted. Even though I would favor Crawford, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think Adrian Broner wins that fight, but damn, that's a good fight. I want to see that fight.
People don't realize how good of a fight it is until it happens, and the fight winds up being like this close. They're like, "Whoa!"
Well, see, and the reason I don't like that though is because then the narrative gets spun where. So let me put it how we just said. So I tell you about this fight. I'm like, dude, Broner and Crawford, and you're like, Crawford's gonna fuck him up. Crawford's got him. But then when the fight, and I'm telling you, bro, this is a good fight. You're no, it's. But then when it is a close fight, you're like, Crawford's not as good as I thought he was. You say he wins 7-5. It allows people to discredit people. You know what I mean? And it's you can't do that. Like, you have to know these matchups. You have to know these styles that are going in and know that this is going to be a close fight. So when someone pulls off this close win, you give them the credit they deserve rather than, it was just Adrian Broner. And it's like, dude, Adrian Broner is one of the more talented fighters in the sport. He hasn't tapped into his full potential just yet, but in terms of talent, he's one of the most talented fighters in the sport. So, yeah, he's an intriguing... There's a lot to think about for 2017. There's a lot to think about. I'm excited for, especially the heavyweight scene. We didn't even touch on the heavyweights. That being said...
I'm waiting to see how that picture come out. So that's how I'm gonna touch on that because we still got a WBA title floating out there. I would like to see Shannon and Cannon Briggs. Let's go, champ.
Right.
Hey. Fight for that WBA against
the picture. The picture's still a little foggy at heavyweight. There's still, to me, like too many. He can fight him, and once the stars start to align more, I think we can really break it down. But at this point, it's a little bit hard.
You gotta just won a WBO, and the WBA still floating. After that, then we'll get a chance to sink our teeth into that.
We got Tony Montana, the best heavyweight in the world, cokehead, coming in. Hey man, I hope he gets it.
He's coming back.
I hope he gets it together, man, because he's too talented.
He's exciting. I like him because he's exciting.
Yeah.
He makes it fun.
He does. He's just too talented to. Yeah, he's just too talented to not be in the picture. He's way too talented to not be in the picture. But hey, do you have any last thoughts? Because I do want to end this one. We're gonna come back with you guys with another episode this week. We wanted to get 2 out this week because we owe you guys big time. It's been a little while. But that off the top of my head, we didn't prepare. We said this one because we prepared for the last 3 and they all got thrown. We said, you know what, we're just coming on this one and we're talking. Okay, so that's all I have off the top of my head. Do you have anything else you got that you want to get off your chest before we wrap this one up?
Of course, I'm gonna say like, subscribe, share. Other than that, I don't have anything I want to say in the comments. Get in the comments and tell us what y'all think we should talk about or what we should talk about next time.
Yeah.
And besides that, continue to watch us. Stay classy.